Mm. There's a lot of, yeah. And we recognize that. I'm not so sure if that's what caused customary use. There's a few other things I think that have caused customary use, but there's no doubt. But if you go back and look over the last 5 years, I've been getting my arms around the vendors, and mm, I know. Hmm. Up until last election, we had a pro vendor county commission, and it takes people to come to these meetings and get to that podium, talk fluently and remove the emotion and ask for consideration that gets the best traction. But let's get started. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Brian Kellenberger. I'm the Director of Beach Operations for Walton County. My department keeps the beach clean, the beach codes enforced, and we do capital improvement projects that are beach related and TDC funded. Josh Irvin is our beach maintenance manager. He is the guy that makes everything happen as far as the beach cleanup. Our beach code enforcement manager is not here tonight. He's headed to the house, probably had a hard day. Stacy Emfinger is one of our administrative assistants. She keeps everything flowing in the office. And David Demarest is our communications guy. So all the pretty words you see get out there about green flags and sunshine, he's the guy behind it. So, yeah. So tonight, a workshop on a conceptual idea of putting bathrooms at what's called Grayton Dunes, and that is the area that we lease from the county, the former Butler land that everybody knows as Grayton Beach. So tonight will be like a town hall type meeting. Ask everybody to cut their cell phones off. If you got to take a call, go outside. Maybe differences of opinion in the room tonight. Please, let's respect everybody as civil human beings and not get in any arguments. I'll go through a quick presentation, kind of how we got here, what the steps moving forward are, a brief discussion about these conceptual designs we have, and after that we'll take questions and comments. And we can talk about this. If you have other questions about Grayton Beach or other beaches, I'll be glad to ask them, but let's get this out of the way first, and that way we won't waste our time. So restrooms at Grayton Beach. In August of 2014, I was contacted by the Department of State Lands. That's the people that own and control the land, with a list of complaints they had received about unacceptable behavior on Grayton Beach. And that included defecating, urinating in the dunes, outfall gulf, driving issues, and vendor issues. A few other smaller ones that really were insignificant, trash and stuff like that. But so the letter was, are they the truth? If they are, what are you going to do about them? We need to see that pronto. So the driving issues and the vendor issues were fairly easy to resolve. That's when we implemented the vendor zone down there, and that kind of corralled vendors into a certain area. That had a purpose for it. It kind of created some other issues, but one of the reasons for that was to kind of resolve that, what we call the race to the water's edge in the morning. And what it did is it allowed for space that vendors couldn't vend in, and the general public then wouldn't have to run down to the beach in the morning to try to get them a beachfront seat. It did create congestion issues and a few other things, but the main problem it was trying to solve, it did. Since then, to help resolve more vendor issues there, we've put that beach into our managed vendor program. That started the 15th, yesterday. And so what that is, its basic tenet is they have a attendant on duty. They don't set product out until the customer gets there. And if the customer is leaving for, more than just a break, they pull the equipment in. And so that solves the problems of ghost sets, and it also helps that race to the water's edge. As it gets working in or starts to work like it's supposed to, you'll see less of that, people getting up early in the morning to go down there and place their equipment and leave it until they come back down at 10:30. All right, so stepping back to 2014, we notified the state that we were doing this with vendors. The driving we would look at. My department is not the permit authority for the driving permits. Walton County admin is. And back in 2011, I think it was, they implemented that grandfather rule. And then a little bit later, they did a additional 50 lottery that would let people grandfather in. That one's phased out, and now they do a lottery of 150 each year. And what had happened is one of the issues, I think, where there was a lot of handicap beach permits that had been issued. So Walton County admin assigned 2 people to that instead of one person that kind of did it part-time, and they got their arms around it. So that solved those 2 problems. Third problem was the bathroom issue. People not having a place to relieve themselves when they're down there. And so the obvious solution to that is provide public facilities. So that came up early 2015, I guess, is when it kind of floated around. We met, or I was instructed by the then county commissioner to meet with some of the community leaders to talk about how to roll it out, so to speak, to the community. Talk about where would be a good place to do it, and that would be a starting process. That commissioner then got voted out, and during that election period, you can imagine how things happen. You know, you don't really want to do anything controversial, so it kind of got put on the back burner. New commissioner gets in, it kind of rides along for another summer. The issues still exist, so to speak, for the lack of bathroom. It comes back up. Brian, what can we do? Well, let's engage an engineer to do a constructability study. And so that's, you know, look at all the lease terms and conditions, the land management, or the what's called the unit management plan, the flood zone, you know, what flood zone is it in, what would the structure, what kind of structure could you build, sewer, water connectivity, and all that. And so we hired a firm called Genesis Engineering out of Tallahassee. One of their principals was instrumental in designing a lot of our beach accesses over the years. They're very familiar with our area. They're very familiar with Walton County, very familiar with FDEP and FEMA. So they seem like a good fit. And that's where we are today. That actually happened over a year or so ago. Once again, as summer passes, we start to forget about, you know, the congestion and the impact on our beaches and, of course, our community. And then as it starts to get back into that season, people start thinking about it again, and that's how we are. So location of it is after walking around, looking around, understanding connectivity to the beach and to what limited parking we have along Garfield. So Garfield, Banfield. This is our boardwalk. We have very limited parking right here. And then, of course, there's some right-of-way parking in the form of angled and parallel throughout the community, but that's about all the parking there is in Grayton that could be associated with the beach. The rest of it's on the beach. This is our east drive on. And so it seemed logical, since it'll be a handicap accessible facility, to put it in the network of boardwalks we have. And this right here is kind of started standing out as a good place. Now, why didn't we do it on the west side? So on the west side over here, obviously there is some opportunity. This little issue right here, so we own, or not own, so we lease several blocks of land that stretch up to here. So this looks like a good place right here. And actually the community leaders said, well, you know, not a bad place. This piece of property was offered to us back in 2017, I think. But for whatever reason, we decided that the price was not a good fit for us. But to do this, we still have to give this person connectivity to their property. And so if you did a boardwalk, because you'd want to connect it by a boardwalk to the beach, it would either have to be a boardwalk that he could drive over, so it would go down and you would lose ADA connectivity, or it'd be elevated, he could drive under it. And then, you know, that starts to get into some issues over there. So that kind of went away. This kind of, you know, once again came back into play. We realized that the people that live here and here are impacted by view. This will be a modest bathhouse, and we have a couple different versions of it. Our intent is to put it as low as we can. One of the things that dictates height is its flood zone. So right now this is a VE flood zone, and it has a base flood elevation of 11 feet. And so we would have to be 1 foot above, the lowest structural member has to be 1 foot above base flood elevation. So that puts our floor level at about 13 feet. With 8-foot plate height and a modest pitched roof, your structure is not that tall. You're at about 15 feet. So the intent was is if we can get it in here, that it may, it'll block some of the lower level views. The upper level views would be able to see over it, of course, and being a smaller bathhouse would hopefully not impact the view corridors too much. There's no way around not impacting them to some degree. So that was how it ended up here. The couple of designs that we came up with are what I call a 2 fixture per gender or 3 fixture per gender designs. And there's 2 basic designs. There's the square design like this, and this mimics some of our existing bathhouses we have at Regional Beach Accesses. And then this is a long linear type of design, and of course it has 2 different, like say 2 fixtures or 3 fixtures. The 2 fixture is about 30 feet long by 13 feet. This one's 37 by 13. And then this one is 18 by 24, roughly. This one kind of came about is in anything we do, we were thinking about the architectural style of Grayton Beach, the old vernacular. And so this one kind of came about as, you could make it look like an old fishing shack. You could actually distress it a little bit. Somebody came up with an idea of putting like an old fish tournament leaderboard on the back of it that faces the drive, and so that it looked old, like old Grayton. Some people may like that, some people may not. So that's where we are. The structure, of course, will be pile supported. Frame, foundation, wood frame walls and roof, galvanized metal roof. Either cement board siding, painted, and inside would be some other material that's easy to maintain. Floors, all that, epoxy floors. Would not be air conditioned. Would have small heating units in them, and louvers in it for airflow, fans for airflow. We'd sometimes put heaters in them because if it gets too cold, we don't always put them in there. But that beach is used. We're getting more of a year round. People didn't come down here from, really from Thanksgiving until back to spring break. But now, we have people here. We just have a different group. And Grayton Beach, there's always people down there. May not. If it did, it would just be a small little. Pardon me? Yeah. Yeah, like I said, we're getting more of a crowd here, I think, of that type of people during that time of year. Our price point has kept them over in Okaloosa and Bay County, but we're seeing more each year. Our research shows us that we're getting more of the winter visitor group in the winter. So that's it. I haven't put any numbers together on it. A structure like that would probably run you about $250, $300 a square foot, maybe a little less since it's not heated and cooled. But on the beach, we found that things are expensive. So.
How did you calculate the capacity needed?
Well, we didn't. We looked at what we do at our other restrooms. What we want to do is offer some accommodations. The difference between 2 fixtures and 3 fixtures per gender is a recognition that you may need 3, you may not. Sometimes you might just have to wait. Once again, the 2 fixture is an effort to minimize impact. Pardon me?
1B in your design?
Yes, sir. I think that's it. I've been referring to him as the. It's probably 1B.
364 square feet, is that right?
Mm-hmm. Could be. Like I say, I've been referring to them, in their conceptual form. I haven't put a whole lot of, particulars in my head yet. But
has there been any thought of, over the years that outlet has been cutting into that wall
Mhm.
over and over, and we have bypassed any big storm since Opal, which is 95.
Mhm.
That could be a vulnerable spot there.
It could
in a
be.
hurricane.
Yep.
Did you consider, I don't know that even moving it back closer to the road would help,
Mhm.
but it would certainly get you to where your replacement and fixtures and sewage would be easier to get to.
Yep, yep. So from what I understand from the town or the community meeting that the Grayton Beach had, that was one of the items that came out of it was, can you move it further north in this? And most certainly. And as you know, you can see this building, so this is, to scale. And this plaza, of course, doesn't have to be that big. This is just our engineer's first attempt at it. But yes, this could slide back. Right now, this boardwalk right here is at elevation 11 feet. As it goes back, it lowers down. And so I've asked our engineer to research, is there ways that I don't have to build per the FEMA guidelines above base flood elevation? And there are ways that you can do that by putting in flood gates and stuff like that. And there may be some exceptions based on occupancy type. But as you move back, so elevation has one big cause and effect, is you got to have a ramp to get to it. All right, so if we're 2 feet above it here, we have to have a ramp that's 24 feet, because it's 1 on 12, to get up to it. The more we go back here, the more change in elevation we get, depending on where we start. Obviously, we start back here with the ramp, we still have, even more change in elevation to get. But
How much would it take to just raise the boardwalk a little bit?
well, that would be an idea we do, is that. But I'd like to get some more surveys back here. There might be an opportunity that you start back here with your boardwalk a little bit further up on the pavement, because as you come from sand to pavement, you go uphill some even more. And so it kind of goes like this. But so moving that back would help with that, with the utilities, of course, and would also start to tuck it in even further under the view of second, third floor of these structures, and quite possibly get it out of most of the line of view of these couple of houses over here. I received an email from, I think it's the people that live the second house back, with great concern of their view, and I understand that. But, mhm. Well, like I say, the other idea is over on this side, and it's got complications on it. But there might be a solution of up here, right? And so, but you'd like to have it connected with the boardwalk to the beach,
Well, because people walk across the dune to get to the dam.
right?
And then you're destroying the state property, which is the dune, and that's what the state wants you to protect.
Yeah.
But can't we put the fencing like you've done along the road to the beach? Can't you put that fencing along the dunes to keep people out of it?
You could. Like I said, there's definitely solutions.
That's not supposed to be there.
No. So FDEP doesn't like this, and they ask you to try to stop it. In fact, this was one of those smaller issues that they mentioned in the letter, is the trail from the red bar to here. When, like I say, when they mention it, they're not hammering down on us, but
You would put the, that's, because I've gone over this with a lot of people, said they want to have it over that side.
mhm.
And it's just that is not impacted. It's pretty pristine as you get over there. When you come
Mhm.
on the boardwalk's already there. You already have all of the people who would come in on public transportation would be coming to that point.
The boats are going on this side anyway, I mean,
Boats go both ways.
Mhm.
well, I mean, most of the bigger boats
Hey.
are being launched from that other
Mhm.
side.
I think on the other side, you impact the homes less.
They go wherever the people.
Well, and
And you're adding an additional amenity, which would be a second boardwalk, which
Mhm.
would further help with the inflow and egress of people.
yeah, like I say, here or here. This will be more commercial. Chiringo, yeah. So this is and Definiak.
Still people live there. I mean, and it's, a lot of those people are not, don't
taking that.
impacted, and it's impacted also by the rentals, you know, so. From my perspective as being with the neighborhood association, that would be less of an immediate impact than going back and taking, and plus you still have that cottage that sits out there that he has to have access to, you know?
That was one of the biggest, like I say, if you're going to build a boardwalk, which is what they'd want us to do, because the primary user, intended user of the bathroom is the people on the beach. This area was looked at as in that, you know, Grayton Beach is a walkable community, and bathrooms that are public, that are, you know, available to people that are walking the community are also desirable. Some people suggested that we work with Ollie and do a private-public partnership, but Ollie's on a fast track. He's already said that he's going to put in bathrooms that are more accommodating to his customers, and I don't really want to, you know, say, hey, I think we would slow him down, and if I'd have to tell him that, and he would say, no, I don't want to do that, and so I'm not even going. It's not worth it to ask him really. Is there opportunity somewhere else up here in the road right of way? Possibly, but it gets awful crowded, and we've tried to do other type of structures in a road right of way, and our planning director, he is there a way? Possibly, but he doesn't want to do it, you know.
Between bicycles, people walking down,
Yeah.
walking on the way, golf carts,
Mm-hmm.
it's just, that area is congested.
Yeah.
Even if you,
That area is just, that area that you're proposing and all that, I think that's a terrible idea. You need to do it over here. It's too
Mhm.
congested right there.
Very congested.
yeah, the whole, that's where most of the people go.
Yeah. So the other thing is this is fixing to be changed. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, this is I believe this is a private lot right here, and I'm not sure if there's another one here, and I'd have to look at the thing. I can't remember where. I think our line comes up like this. It may even stop right here or right here. Something like that was part of it too, but. You're right. It's congested right here. It's going to impact these houses to a certain extent. But where do you live? Which one is that?
Right to the left, right on the west side, right, yep.
This house right here? And the Austins live behind you? Got an email from a lady named Austin that said that they lived second house back. Showed me some pictures from their balcony. I understand. It messes up the view. It's going to have some issues of. It's a bathroom. We try to make it look as architecturally pleasing as we can for a bathroom. We try to keep it as low as we can.
Have we done a study to see if putting in a bathroom is really gonna keep people from trapping and being in that area? Would it be easier, much cheaper, just to put some sort of fencing around there and find people who go in there?
I think you'll just force more of them out into the water. It's a long walk. So the problem is we have a park that's heavily used that doesn't have any facilities. All of our other regional beach accesses have a modest bathhouse with them. And I'll be quite honest with you, most of the people that have bought next to one or live next to one bought next to it. So they knew it was there when they bought. But we don't, Josh, do we get many complaints of our bathhouse? Any issues with our bathhouses about people that live adjacent to them? So, so the complaints I've heard so far is smell. All right. So we have these bathhouses right in the middle of, where all of our regional beach accesses are. We use modern grinder stations that, have, periodic maintenance so they don't fail. We actually don't lock them at night. And the reason is because when we do lock them, people break the damn doors down to get into them. And if we don't lock them, we don't suffer as much vandalism as we do when we do lock them. And
And also, from being here a lot, most of the by the lagoon, they go by that opening. That is where a lot of people, and because you can walk in the boardwalk and carry your stuff down.
Yeah.
So to put the bathroom on the other side is gonna discourage them from going to the bathroom. I mean, it's just, the people who go on that side are the people who leave all the time. They usually have a car or have access to a car and they drive home to go to the bathroom. The people who come down as guests and visitors with the little kids go by the lagoon. And that's another question.
That is.
That is, that's,
Mhm.
okay. Where,
Yeah, like I say, if there was to be another boardwalk built, it would be built on this side. And when we get across these two roads right here, because of this person's property, is where we start getting to a little bit of, yeah. But- but-
We own 281 Garfield,
mhm.
and,
This one,
yeah, that one. I'm right next door.
you're right here.
He's the one. And I mean, we went and took some pictures, and it's gonna significantly impact our property.
Mhm.
Not by a little bit, by a lot, because we're not, we don't have a property that's up on Old.
Mhm.
We're first floor, second floor. And so we're gonna have that no matter where you put it there, it impacts us,
Mhm.
which, I
What's,
think it impacts the value.
yeah, what's the elevation of, what's the elevation of your bottom floor level?
I do not know what the elevation is. But it's,
You know what yours is?
yeah, it's pretty.
mine's up a little bit higher than his.
Mhm.
But his is probably level with the boardwalk.
First floor?
I think that, at least your house. Now, my house is.
Our boardwalk is higher than it seems. It's 11 feet, but,
When you built up there, I know that house is good,
mhm.
4 or 5 feet above the boardwalk.
I mean,
Mhm.
no matter where you are from our property, if you build this thing, whether
Mhm.
we're sitting on the first floor or the second floor,
Mhm.
you're either looking straight at it, you're getting the time people figure out how long it takes them to go to the bathroom, or you're looking over it, but you're still down on it.
Mhm. If it moved up further this way,
Well, I thought about that on
Yeah.
the drive down from Tennessee today, but
Mhm.
the problem then is you're bringing something that's, this whole thing, people are gonna break down the door at night. That's why we leave it unlocked. I'm bringing that
Mhm.
closer to my house,
Mhm.
into our guests,
Yep.
and that's gonna impact rentals, that impacts all kinds of things. We
Yep.
pay a lot of money, everyone does, everyone's paying a lot of
Mhm.
money in property taxes. You pay
Yeah.
taxes if you rent it.
Yeah.
I know some people don't like the fact that people rent houses, but it's good for the overall economy.
Yeah. When I was talking about leaving it unlocked, yeah. When I was talking about leaving it unlocked, it wasn't because our bathhouses attract people at night. It's because the beaches are alive at night,
Right.
and they're there anyway. That was the comment about leaving them unlocked. Other parks we lock at night, or the county locks at night. The ones we control, we don't lock at night unless it's a dawn to dusk.
Boardwalk along kind of where they beat that path through already, is that
Here?
viable option?
What if you tucked
There-
it into the dune and kind of had it to where it's backed into the dune like this, where you couldn't see it?
Where, in what location?
Built it in right here, of course, like in the front right here.
Well, so the CCCL runs through about right here. And so right here gets us
Then it wouldn't impact anybody if you build it up there.
it's very hard for us to build below the CCCL. Not that it can't be done, and,
Put it right here on the street.
and,
But this land is owned by the state of Florida. It is not private land owned.
what was the comment? On their end? Mhm. They're seaward of the CCCL, Coastal Conservation Construction Line. That runs a little bit in front of most of those houses right here. So it runs right through here. It kind of jogs as it goes through here and comes back down. Our arbitrary line the state government decided was we're not going to let people build seaward of that without really special permitting. I'm not saying that it can't be done. I'm just saying that my experience with FDEP, who will be the primary permit authority on this, and especially since the state owns the land, they would be very reluctant to give us. But we do. One of the biggest restrictions is we have to amend our land management plan, our unit management plan. But it recognizes in there, in the original plan, and in the subsequent plans that have been amended or have to be revised every 10 years now, that there can be some structures down there for bathroom facilities. So It's not that they, I mean, they recognized at some point there was going to have to be some kind of facility down there.
Let me just tell you, when Opal hit,
Mm-hmm.
the water was all the way to your house and your house. It went up the street. It flooded the lake back by where the old farm used to be. I live on Garfield, and the water came this close to coming to my house. So if we get hit by a hurricane, you're just throwing a sacrificial fish out there that it's gonna go, you know, so the idea
Yeah.
I'm trying to do is, the only reason I said to move it back further, other than to try to help the view, is that you want it to last a little way. You don't wanna have something that's gonna get washed away. Everything, if Michael came through here, we'd all be waiting in line at FEMA. There'd be nothing here. So you gotta realize that this is a vulnerable area.
But it'll be made worse by having a structure there that could be, you know, right now, I don't necessarily worry about our beachfront windows. They're the impact resistant and all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
I just have replaced them, they're, but you know, all of a sudden you get storms, and you know, I watch the signs out there do this.
Mhm.
And I have a structure that's right in front of our properties that could potentially become projectiles. You know,
Yeah.
It's a deep root, right?
If this one got washed away, it'd be by storm surge, not by wind, because it'll have to be built to the 150-mile-an-hour wind code on that high velocity zone.
All these problems we keep talking about, congestion,
Mhm.
the view, all these things, aren't they remediated over here? Not every problem, I hear you,
Mhm.
there's other people that live in the community, I get it.
Mhm.
But you relieve congestion, you bring a new artery coming out to the beach, you don't impact these beachfront views.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
don't- I-
No, and this is one of the concepts that we'll bring back after this meeting. Like I say, it's been looked at in pure concept form, as we haven't drawn a diagram like that. But that's one of our.
But it's also, I mean, we're talking hurricanes, I mean, if we wanna move it back and that makes it better, this is even better.
Like I say, if we get a hurricane in here, the wind's not going to blow it down. The storm surge may impact it. But if we get a storm surge in there, this little structure washing up against y'all's structure is not going to be your worries. I mean, if we get I mean, y'all saw the things. Yeah, but y'all saw. I mean, your houses, I'm sure, are built to current code. Your house is what, 3 years old?
It's taken 3 years to build that.
Yeah, but I mean, it's built to. Yeah, yeah. So you know, the newer houses will be standing just like they did in Mexico Beach. Some of those older structures, you know, that are up on stilts, they're going to be impacted by storm surge, especially the lower floors. You know, this little thing will be gone. Some of this, you know, over here, these are older, you know, homes. They may have been retrofitted, but storm surge is. I mean, y'all saw the property in Pensacola after Ivan. I mean, you know, some of those houses were, you know, it pulled the bolts out of the slab. So yeah, so we'll bring that back as an alternate to it, and we'll talk about what we need to do to accommodate this person here. And I don't know if this property is still available. Yeah, this guy was. There's a real. Yeah, Tarango's was actually for sale not too long ago. I told my boss, I said, hey, we'll make a big community bathroom out of Tarango's. Like a plaza on the corner, but they wanted a bunch of money for it. They were trying to sell a restaurant.
One other consideration, if you pull it back too far from the beach,
Mm-hmm.
They're not gonna go.
they're not getting John.
That
They're not gonna
Add
use
a bar to it, then they'll come out.
Well, the kids,
make it a profit center. Yeah.
the idea is to get kids to go. I mean, that's
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you know, people make the trot to the Red Bar. You see them going all the time. And they come back with margaritas, or a lot of them come back with lunch. And some of them you see just go and come back. And a lot of them you see get up from their chairs and go out in the Gulf. And apparently, I mean, I haven't been up here doing the inspection, but somebody complained enough to the state that they felt that it was a problem that people were using those dunes for a bathroom.
we have those log houses there that are supposedly helping to grow the village too.
Yeah,
And the only thing there is ash from that red ball.
that's right.
There's still the insulation ash laying all over the place.
Is there? Yeah. Huh. So, okay, so we got a couple of different ideas. Is there anything else that y'all would like to see us present in conceptual form or You know, the other idea that I proposed to my boss is, maybe the community could buy Taringos and make it the Graydon Beach, way station. You know what I mean?
It's been many things.
It has. Yeah. This one right here? This right here? Yeah. That's got, it's,
That walkway to the observation thing,
yeah.
why don't you finish the handicap accessibility? It comes right down, there's like a spot this far that goes drops into
Yeah.
the sand.
We'll get our best guy on it.
We talked about this 2 years ago when you first put up, it's
We-
great, but it's not handicap accessible.
Yeah, we've done a little patch and repair. To do, we should have taken the opportunity when they were. That's your house, right? Yeah, y'all just redid it, right? The whole thing.
Whole thing.
Yeah, we should have taken the opportunity when y'all were doing that to come together and build something that's palatable to all concerned. No, I mean the thing that's already there.
It's already there, and
Yeah,
that certainly doesn't interfere with much with the view at all.
yeah,
That's a great spot why we
Yeah.
put the Norton houses there. I hope you appreciate the Norton houses too.
yeah. All right. So any other ideas, questions, comments that?
Is there any place for us to, but we've got a architect on the board who is looking through some different designs to
Mhm.
try to make the design in Graydon a Graydon type of design.
Most certainly, we would welcome that.
Might have to, if he gets further in this and you get to where you're budgeting or something,
Mm-hmm.
we could try to get some other things other than, because Graydon is unique, we all think
Yeah.
it's got some character, and the idea of putting a fishing tournament
Yeah.
there, and even when little
Yeah.
kids come out, we have the childhood fishing
Yeah,
tournament
the CCCA thing.
every, do
Mm-hmm.
that, so.
Yeah. There's ways you could,
Stuff with
yeah.
the reef and the underwater,
Mm-hmm. We've already got some signage right there. You've probably seen our bent aluminum plate brown signs that have the diagrams and talk about the coastal dune lake and the reefs out there. But yeah, so it's we'd welcome stuff like that. We're not. I mean, this is an engineer's effort. I mean, they have architects on their staff, but I asked them. I said, I think that would help make this palatable is if it looked like Old Graydon.
now I'm
And
gonna
so-
get Bill Wallace to send you some,
Yeah.
he sent us a thing that had designs from New Zealand where they are very small footprint,
Yeah.
so it's,
Yeah.
and in fact, the wash station wasn't in every place, it was outside.
It could even go smaller. I mean, like I said, you asked a question about how do we figure how many fixtures. We actually just got approval to improve Walton Dunes, which is down in the Eastern Lake neighborhood, and the commission gave us the direction of build a one fixture per gender restroom, and so it gives opportunity, but it also minimizes because people there had the same issues. Don't want it in front of my house. We don't need it here. It's going to cause problems and all that. Simple fact is that was land that was given to us by the federal government under it's called the Recreation and Public Purpose Act, and it came with stipulations that it be developed. We developed the other properties that we received from Fort Panic Regional Beach Access and Inlet Beach Regional Beach Access. In one Seagrove place, we have a cul-de-sac down there. It's not a restroom, but
Also, the argument of the bathrooms being far from the beach is kind of a neat point, because if you go to Seaside, you have to walk quite a ways to Seaside to use the facility as well.
it's true. That's true. But like I say, pros and cons.
The people that are walking off the beach to use the bathroom are motivated, put it that way. Well, let me just point something else out. When they do the water quality tests monthly, and they do it in the Gulf,
Mm-hmm.
I'm really concerned about what that lagoon is like, because that gets hot, and every kid that you see go in there is worth at least 8 ounces of urine, and they're there every day, all day, and somehow we should be testing that. And
The-
that's the main criteria for me.
Well,
Someone's gonna get sick from
that
They're not gonna go to the bathroom, you can't stop it, they're gonna go,
Yeah.
kids are gonna go to the bathroom regardless of their participation.
yeah.
But if they're,
The biggest cause of the biggest cause of water quality during those tests is the septic tanks that still exist on the coastal dune lakes. There are still septic tanks on.
I don't know that there's more than 2. I think there's only
I don't know. There's the Coastal Dune Lake Advisory Board has a list and diagram of all of it. But the county just passed an initiative to seek money and appropriate money to get, apparently in Walton County, there's, how many tanks were there? 1,400? Of course, most of those north of the bay. And, right, and, but one of the big things was coastal delays. Been trying for a long time to get whatever ones that are left in working.
They ought to get a little grant together and try to get the regional utilities to come down on the token fee if you're on a septic.
Oh, yeah, I know.
I mean, when they first came through, it was like $800 to hook up, and I did it right away, and I just put a septic tank in.
Mm-hmm.
And now they want $10,000.
It's 10 grand. I'm fixing to have to put one in my house over on the north side of the bay.
What they ought to do is they ought to get some kind of grant or some way where you get a discount to get off of the septic and put it on sewage.
I think that's part of the deal is, get grants, appropriate money so that the providers can do an amortization schedule for you over 20 years. And then that's a big incentive,
They gotta do that.
And, you got to change culture too. I mean, it's not so much down here, but up there. Some people just say, hey, my septic tank works fine. I ain't worried about water quality. Catfish are huge. Yes, sir.
One thought, if you, and I understand all the challenges with moving it over here,
Mm-hmm.
this is sand right now, right?
Yes, sir.
So
Mhm.
couldn't we pave it or do something part of the way down and then pick up boardwalk, and that actually improves a lot of things?
Possibly. That's one thing we can look at. Stacy, if you'll write that down, please. Paving that.
You need to pave it all the way down, just, past the gentleman's place.
Right here, they put in some hard surface right here, I believe, so, right there. And so what you're saying is boardwalk to here, and then paved surface to restroom?
Right, and then you're not affecting anybody's view.
Well, nobody on the other side we're not affecting, but on the west side we're. Yeah, right. Yeah, and that was one of the biggest things, the biggest challenges is, you make a boardwalk he drives over, or you make a boardwalk they drive under. Both are doable, but.
Takes it more to a commercial area where people waiting
Could.
outside the red bar may go use it.
We'll draw up and get our engineer to give us a report on constructability in that area. What are the issues that we would encounter? Obviously, as we go further north, we get even better because we're north of the CCCL.
How can we get updates in terms of,
Okay, so we have a new where'd Dave go? Just when we need communications guy. Hey, Jason. Where'd my daughter go? Sorry, my wife's in the military and she had to go on a mission, so I got daddy daycare. So we have a new website and we have our own page, and we'll be putting updates on that. And what I'll do is also start a mailing list. And so, did y'all put y'all's email on here? All right. So what I'll do is create a group, and as we move forward, we'll notify everybody on that group. We'll notify by the website of upcoming meetings. But the way the process moves forward is we're not at a conceptual phase yet. So what I'll do is go back and report to the county commission what we learned tonight. Request more money be added to the task order for our engineer to do more conceptual designage, and then they'll probably say, Brian, bring that back, have another public workshop, so people can offer input on that, and
publish when the workshops are, because I only find out.
yes, ma'am, we do. And so, like I say, as we get it out through this group mailing list, it makes it a little bit easier for people. So I'm going to let Bob, since he's the association president guy, I'm going to let him be the point guy.
Neighborhood association, it really doesn't cost anything.
Yeah, but like,
We send out newsletters every quarter.
where'd my daughter go?
This is in it. So if you're, Great Beach Neighborhood Association, and we have a webpage, greatbeachneighborhoodassociation.com.
Is that the one that sends the thing for $50 annually?
It's a voluntary contribution.
I've always
Thank you, buddy.
contribution as long as I've gotten the notice.
Yeah, but anyway, so on this, I'll make sure that, Stacy's going to be in charge of this group list. And so when we send out, prior to the meeting, visit southwalton.com. Now, we've just rolled out a new website, okay? And so we're still polishing it, so to speak, but it has a page.
Just doing Walton County DDC, that's what I did, and I found it.
Yeah, yeah, just like I say, if you type in visit South Walton, it'll take you there. But there's a page, so as you look through them,
Yeah, tourist development, whatever.
yeah, yeah, but the actual name is visit South Walton. But anyway, so in that website is a beach operations page, and we'll have updates. We put stuff like this on the page. But the best way for us to communicate will be through a group email. And as soon as a meeting is established by BCC, we'll send it out. And you can put it on your calendar.
What's your time frame for this?
I'll take this back to them at the June 10th meeting. And
Want to do something?
no, gosh, it'll take us a year to, once we get to where everybody.
Go to the other side, even though to me, it's an awful long walk off the beach to get people to go,
Mhm.
you still gotta get that property.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Go to Seaside, why would I go to Seaside, I live in Great?
yeah.
Why would I do that?
Yeah.
My point is, people leave the beach to go to the bathroom and they walk a long way.
There is. It's, right. Well, so the way the process works is we finish our conceptual design, get everybody to as fair and equitable as we possibly can, and then BCC approves it. And then the next step would be for us to start amending our unit management plan with the FDEP, as well as starting the design and permitting effort. And all that would take, about a year. And then we would, in that meantime, we would be appropriating funds for it. But we have, pardon me? Probably, if it, becomes, we did that, and we a long time ago we did it, and everybody raised hell. You can't. How dare y'all put a portalet on Graydon Beach? And I'm not kidding you. And then it gets dumped over every night. Whew. But anyway, so now the way that it may get faster is the owner of the land says, y'all got to do something. Now, one of the biggest, I said it earlier, but one of the biggest catalysts of this was people in the Graydon Beach community complaining about these issues. And so it wasn't necessarily outsiders. There's a lot of other people that have drive on the beach permits, but in stuff like this, in our beach code enforcement complaints, most of those complaints are internal. They come from people within your community. And so,
Well, there are
just,
still, on some days you'll see 70 cars on that beach, and
yeah,
10 of them are from locals. Locals who drop stuff off and go home.
yeah.
Whereas you still get all of Walton County comes to use that beach.
There's like I say, a lot of the permits. I mean, everybody throughout the county has permits. A lot of grandfathered. I got a grandfathered permit. Do what?
They can go to Eastern Lake, but there's, how many can you get in the beach there? Cars, I mean.
None at Eastern. Down at Inlet Beach, we have a launch, but we don't let people park on the beach. People do it. Appreciate y'all's input tonight. Thank y'all. If you got any questions or comment, y'all can send me an email. It's brian@visitsouthwalton.com. Very easy.
Mr. Hickson, I'm watching your house for
It was good to meet you.
Yes, sir.
How do we get the Misty Point thing on somebody's agenda, just so it doesn't disappear?
Contact Tony Anderson.